আমি ৫-১০ বছর আগে হলে I would tell people that do not get into music because it's a dead end. But if I can make it, you guys can, because I'm not that really special. I'm just one guy who's been working extremely hard for the last 15 years, learning my craft and then trying to sell it. But I was very thorough with my work. That's why I have a social status. Or otherwise, I probably wouldn't have. All right, thank you so much for inviting me. This is my first time doing something like this. So bear with me because I might embarrass myself. First of all, আমি একটু ছোট করে শুরু করতে চাই, যেহেতু আমরা বাংলাদেশী। I would prefer to speak in Bangla as much as I can. যদিও আমি ইংলিশ মিডিয়ামের ছেলে, so বাংলা খুব ভালো পারি না, which are kind of little stupid. But আমার নাম Rafa. I've been a musician for quite a long time, and আমি খুব প্রাউডলি এটা বলতে পারি যে আমি এমন একটা দেশে মিউজিশিয়ান যেখানে মিউজিকটাকে এখন একটা প্রপার প্রফেশন হিসাবে দেখা হয় না। And I'm pretty sure you guys will agree. Even at the age of 35, parents will keep telling you that get a real job. And I'm sure the same goes with artists as well. Same goes with a lot of people who has alternative careers. But I'm very proudly here standing in front of you. You guys invited me to be here. Obviously, I did something right. And I would just want to talk about that. And Tarage, I just want to give a brief introduction of who I am and what I do. So I started music at the age of 16 because I just could. I'm one of those guys who just realized that আমি একটু গিটার বাজাতে পারি, একটু ড্রাম বাজাতে পারি, then আমার বড় ভাই helped me. And then after that, I joined a big band called Orthohin. And join করার পর it was just a summer breeze. For me, it was like 4 or 5 years of just, sitting ducks, learning the craft, and just trying to understand music better. But I wasn't really sure of what I'm gonna do with my life further down the line. So then comes the time when I finished my GCSE exams, O levels, A levels. And then I was kind of confused, Jay, what am I gonna do with this? Because এখন হচ্ছে গিয়ে টাইম ইউনিভার্সিটি জয়েন করার, অ্যান্ড আমার সব বন্ধুরা ইউনিভার্সিটি জয়েন করে ফেলছে, অ্যান্ড নাও আই হ্যাভ টু ডু দ্য রাইট থিং, অ্যান্ড দ্য রাইট থিং ইজ জয়নিং ইন ইউনিভার্সিটি, বাট দেন অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম আমি চাই মিউজিক পড়তে। সো ফার্স্ট থিং আই ডিড ওয়াজ ট্রাই টু ফাইন্ড আমাদের দেশে ওয়ের ক্যান আই অ্যাকচুয়ালি স্টাডি মিউজিক অর মিউজিক প্রোডাকশন অর সাউন্ড ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং, বিকজ অল থ্রি আর কাইন্ড অফ কানেক্টেড, বাট আই ডিডন্ট ফাইন্ড এনিথিং, টু বি অনেস্ট. So I took the hard decision of skipping university because I don't come from a wealthy family. যে আমি আমার বাবাকে বলবো আমাকে আমেরিকা পাঠিয়ে দাও and he's going to give me tons of money. That was a no. So I decided আমি নিজে শিখবো. So I buckled down, I became a nerd. So I learned all these things by myself. All the instruments I can play, I learned it myself. It's a good thing, but then it took a lot of effort on my part. And then after learning that, I realized the fact that yes, গলির পোলাপানরা আমাকে ভালোবাসে, মিউজিশিয়ানরা আমাকে অনেক ভ্যালু করে বিকজ তুমি অনেক কিছু বাজাতে পারো, বাট ওয়ার ইজ দ্য মানি, রাইট? আই এম প্রিটি শিওর এভরিবডি ইজ গোনা হ্যাভ দ্যাট সেম কোয়েশ্চেন, ওয়ার ইজ দ্য মানি? বিকজ মাই ফ্রেন্ডস আর গোনা ইভেন্চুয়ালি গ্র্যাজুয়েট ফ্রম স্কুল, দে আর গোনা গো আউট ইন টু দ্য রিয়েল ওয়ার্ল্ড, গেট আ জব, and I need to somehow monetize my talent. এখন coming back to this, I made a whole script, but I'm going to ignore the whole thing. I'm just going to speak from my heart. So you have to learn to monetize your talent. And that's where alternative career comes in. So monetizing your talent is something that influencers are doing it very well. Like, a whole lot of kudos to them for doing what they're doing best. But back in the days, for me, monetizing talent was not an option. Amader deshe monetizing a talent is still not an option. If you're not a doctor or an engineer, your parents are gonna be like, disappointed. So if you look at me, you'll understand I went through a very hard, long time of just trying to figure out how do I make money from music. Given the fact that amader deshe musicer copyrighted kono payment nai, we don't get royalties, we don't get anything. So I realized that it's better that if I just start taking music seriously. And that goes for everybody who wants to be an artist, or you can, have your own passion, you can do anything you want. But you have to take it extremely seriously. By seriously, I mean take it as a business from day one. And that's what I exactly did. I took it as a business. This much talent, amar etutuku talent ache, and I'm going to use that, somehow convert it and make people like my music so that I can get paid through various ways. And I'm pretty sure you guys will understand this is how it works. And it's not a very complicated thing to do. One of the alternative paths I want to talk about is আমাদের দেশে রিটেইলে কেউ ওয়ার্ক করে না। আমরা যখন ছোট থাকি, যখন ও লেভেল এ লেভেল করতে থাকি, তখন we realize that I need some money, right? So the one thing I know is আমি নিজে টিউশন করতাম, একটা ছোট বাবুকে পড়াতাম ছোটবেলায়, and then I somehow got out of it. So I really want to encourage everybody to start getting into retail jobs as young as you can. If your dad has a car that he's not using, try to get a driver's license, drive an Uber. There is no shame in it. I wanted to do this, but another culture says no. That's a little weird because we need to get into retail jobs as young as you can, because that teaches you a lot of steps where you can go from one place to another. You have to start learning to make money from a very younger age so that you get the gist of it. So I've been paying my bills since I'm 16. So যেই কথাগুলো কখনো ইন্টারভিউতে বলা হয় না, I want to tell you guys this. যখন 16 বছর বয়সে ছিলাম, I realized that আমি মিউজিক করে টাকা কামাবো. So I told my mom that I'm gonna make money from music. She laughed at me, obviously. She's like, তোমার বড় ভাই ডাক্তার হচ্ছে, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I'll be a music producer. Okay, go ahead, show me what you can do. So I downloaded the software called Fruity Loops. I'm not sure ekhane keu chinbe kina, but it's a very well-known software. So I downloaded that software, I learned how to compose, beats, synth, just so that I can make a digital music. Those were the first TV commercial music I did was by this brand called Ecstasy. It was back in 2006. They gave me 6,000 taka. I still remember it. I took the whole money and gave it to my mom that, I made this money. And she gave me 3 grand back. She, okay, I'm gonna keep half of it. So ওইখান থেকে আমার শুরু, and then I've been working hard enough to a point that I can turn that into a living. And it's not a hard thing to do. All you have to do is know that you have a set of talent যেটা accumulate করতে লাগবে 4 থেকে 5 বছর. And when you have that, you have to shamelessly reach out to the people who has the power to give you work. I did the same thing. It's not like Ecstasy came up to me and told me, you have to make this. I reached out to few boro bhais I know, jara directors, and I told them, please give me work, because I really desperately need work. And since then, after that, I met Fuad Bhai. He's a very big musician, everybody knows. There is also Habib Bhai. These are the people I give credit to because they changed the dynamic of music in this country. They took the idea of a simple commercial jingle for a company jeta dam chilo 6 থেকে 7,000 টাকা. They pushed it to a point of 4 থেকে 5 lakh টাকা. And I was just slowly starting out. So I got to know them. I had a talk with them. I reached out to Fuad Bhai when I was very young. I'm like, I need to work with you. Please give me work. So then I started playing session music. I don't know if you know session music ki. Say for example, A.R. Rahman ekta গান বানাবে, and ওর গানের মধ্যে একটা তবলা বাজাতে হবে. He's not going to play it because he's not a tabla player. He's going to hire somebody. Same thing happens here as well. So there are big producers making songs for movies. There are movies being released যেখানে প্রচুর ইনস্ট্রুমেন্ট বাজানো হচ্ছে, তানপুরা বাজানো হচ্ছে, একতারা বাজানো হচ্ছে, এগুলো কিন্তু সেশন মিউজিশিয়ানরা বাজায়। And এটার জন্য you need to be in touch. You need to let people know that yes, I am a session musician. আমি শিওর এখানে অনেকে অনেক কিছু বাজাতে পারে. If you can play S-Raj, you have to reach out. And reach out করাটা is pretty sad because we don't have websites that tell you যেখানে a composer can go and look into a chart. They see these are the kind of musician we have listed. But either way, I really hope that we can make that happen. And if you can, there's Facebook, there's social media. You can always reach out to people on your own terms. And it's not going to be very hard challenge for you to try to reach out to people. And if you cannot really reach out, all you have to do is put your work out there. If you're good at your craft, people will know that you have done well. And that's how people are going to eventually find you working in the industry. And keeping your name out there is extremely important. So, amra entrepreneur word ta niye, obviously we know the word, right? Anybody is an entrepreneur if you have an idea, if you know how to sell your product. So, ami amar musical point of theke bolbo je I have learned to sell my music. So, 2006 থেকে 7 এর দিকে we had this copyright issue with the record labels. I don't know if you guys are informed about it or not, but আমরা যখন ছোটবেলায় আমাদের গানগুলো রিলিজ করছি, one of my very famous songs চান মনে 2 যেটা অর্থহীনের ছিল, অর্থহীনের আছে, it got released in one of our albums. So when we signed the contract, we signed it under the name Orthoin, and the contract says that this is gonna be in perpetuity for, with them, which is technically wrong, but our legal system and copyright system doesn't really support musicians and artists. So these are the setbacks that holds people back, right? I was young and I realized that, okay, this song is gonna go somewhere and it will never be mine. So it's a kind of a heartbreak issue. But as the seniors were fighting the system, I realized that I should just take my stuff and get the F out of there. And I started putting my music up on the internet, because now see that the whole world is running through the internet. You can get paid through Facebook. You can monetize your own status. You can monetize your music. So since I'm a musician, আমি music নিয়ে কিছু information সবাইকে দিয়ে দিতে চাই, which is applicable for other things too. Say if you're a musician, you made a music. You have a laptop, you have a MacBook, you recorded the music, you somehow asked your parents যে আমাকে 20,000 টাকা দাও, আমি 20,000 টাকা দিয়ে এটা রেকর্ডিং করবো একটা স্টুডিওতে. So you record the song. Then you and your friends somehow manage to accumulate 10 grands. And in 10 grands day, you ask an engineer to mix and master the song. So you have a product. And then you upload that on your YouTube. And if you just upload that on YouTube, it's not monetized. So you have to upload it through a third-party aggregator like DistroKid or CD Baby. There's one in Bangladesh called Bonfire as well. So you're gonna find that a whole lot of them on Facebook, or just Google it. So when you upload your song through a third-party aggregator, they're gonna make sure it's available in every streaming platform, and whatever money it generates, you're gonna get it, right? This is very simple for musicians. And then you start talking about your music and talking about your opinions on your social media pages, which is Instagram, TikTok, wherever you feel comfortable. And if you can accumulate a good amount of fan following through whatever you do, you can be a musician, but you can talk about how bad that person cooks. But either way, you're gonna have to get attention. And when you get attention, that's where slowly the money starts coming in. And I know যে আমাদের কালচারে we have this thing যে ও মিউজিক করে, ও কেন টাকার পিছে দৌড়াবে? Because I'm exactly the same amount of greed a shopkeeper has, because he has to sustain his life as well. I gotta do it too. So you have to take music extremely seriously when you are younger, and you have to take it as a business. I'm gonna invest this amount of time and money onto this, and when I grow up, I have to get it back. Just like taking loan from your parents. And আরেকটা জিনিস হচ্ছে কি, which I don't really advise people, but দেয়ালে পিঠ ঠেকানোটা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট, এটা আমি পার্সোনালি ফিল করি। যদি if you want to be a musician, or if you want to save the ocean, which I'm very passionate about as well, we have been completely polluting the planet we live in. If you really want to make a difference, দেয়ালে পিঠ ঠেকানোটা খুব জরুরি। দেয়ালে পিঠ ঠেকানো মানে হচ্ছে কি, there is no way out for you. You have to push yourself to that extent. So I didn't go to university. It was a tough call. I decided that I'm not gonna. All my friends decided to go into the university so that they can graduate and get out. Instead, I decided I'm gonna learn my craft. So for the first 6 months, I realized that I would try to go abroad. Then my dad told me I cannot afford to do this. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna learn it myself. So I did, and here I am. I am not just a success story that I'm gonna impose on you guys. আমার মতো এরকম অনেক অনেক success stories আছে, and I'm pretty sure there will be more success stories in the future as well. But do not shy away from your dreams, because you're gonna definitely regret that a lot. That's what I really want you guys to know. So one other thing I want to talk about is normalizing alternative careers. So you have a passion for something, and I would strongly request you guys not to be ashamed of what you do. So my story is, when all my friends were becoming BBA graduates or doctors or engineers, I would go places and tell people that I am a musician. And people would look down on me. It's true. It's সত্যি কথা, এটা আমি শিওর অনেকে ফিল করবে। আমাদের society and culture is a little weird when it comes to that. We are the master of judgment. Even at the age of 35, your parents would still ask you to go be a doctor, because that's how things are. but never be ashamed of what you do. So if you want to be an artist, go be one. And the whole point in that is getting the negative mass, being imposed on you. It's easier for you to stand out, but obviously people are gonna judge you. They're gonna criticize you for having long hair. They're gonna criticize you for being the one who's not doing the right things. And you have to ask yourself, what is the right thing to do? We are almost inside the 21st century, and there is no point you should ever judge yourself for ever wanting to be a musician or anybody with any kind of business ideas, because I think we have broke that paradigm. And it's not very necessary for you to take the judgment of others as well, because we live in a very turbulent times on the internet where everybody's just commenting on each other's crap, and it doesn't really affect anybody. So I really hope that if you want to be a musician, or if you ever did, you have some kind of regret in your heart that I wanted to be a musician, but I couldn't. There is no shame in admitting the fact that you still want to be, and I would strongly want you guys to keep doing what you do. You can be an engineer, but maybe in the next 5 years, you can be somebody who changed the world with their music. So there is always that chance. And I'm very proud to tell one thing, that আমার বেশ কিছু friend, ওরাও পড়াশোনা করতেছিল university, they finished it, and then they told me that, you did it, I want to try it too, and they're very successful musicians now as well. This is a true story. Like Warfez's Samir, he plays guitars. He's been always confused with what he wants to do, but he eventually made it. So these are success stories. আমি 5-10 বছর আগে হলে I would tell people that do not get into music because it's a dead end. But if I can make it, you guys can, because I'm not that really special. I'm just one guy who's been working extremely hard for the last 15 years, learning my craft and then trying to sell it. But I was very thorough with my work. That's why I have a social status. Or otherwise, I probably wouldn't have. I have the affordability to buy a car with my songs. So I can proudly bolte pari, with my own music, I did concerts, I made money from it, then I invested it into my music. So it's a good feedback loop that's been sustaining me for a while. So I hope I could explain you guys what my life is, and you might think that music kora ba alternative career e jawata khub complicated ekta jinish, but in fact it's very liberating. I sleep better at night than most people do. Even if I'm super broke, but I've always slept better at night knowing that I have nothing in my pocket and probably nothing will come in, because আমাদের বছরে কিন্তু যখন political turmoils যায় তখন we go through the worst of times. Like sometimes we think that my career is over, but it comes back. Because if you can make 5 people like your work, they will keep liking your work. And if you can amplify that to a point that you have 1 million people appreciating your work, you will never go out of business. And that's where the power comes in. So always do the math and then realize that you can actually go forward with that path. Being said that, I'd also want to talk about this thing I'm extremely passionate about, that is animals. I just love animals. All kinds, all shapes and forms of animals. And I have always wanted to do something for animals. I'm not quite sure how I can wrap my fingers around it, but there will be a time I will. And I really encourage you guys to keep loving animals. You don't have to pick them up. You don't have to, kiss them. All you have to do is make sure they have their liberty and we have ours. And even if it's an animal you hate, I keep hearing a lot of stuff going on around our country where people are just abusing animals. I don't condone that at all, but I also want to work against that so that we have some kind of awareness related to animals. They don't really want to be in your path. You shouldn't be in theirs as well. If you care about them, just give them a bowl of water. And if you don't, you should walk away, because I think living with animals is the first thing we should have learned to do, because it's not entirely our world, it's theirs as well. And being said that, this is me, Rafa. I hope I made some sense to you guys. And this is my first time, so forgive me if I was not that very informative. But thank you so much, this university, for letting me be here. Thanks to TED Talk for all the good stuff. I hope I can make you guys proud, and take care.
you.